Hello, everybody. Hello, children of New Earth, leaders of New Earth, teachers, healers, and leaders of New Earth. Welcome. Welcome to the writing show. Did anybody see any Ed Sullivan clips? Isn't he the one that said it's going to be an amazing show? We've got an amazing show for you. Stay with us. Wasn't he the one that had that funny voice? And he was known for that. Watch our show. It's going to be really amazing. I remember I remember that being a thing when I was younger, and people would practice that, and it was supposed to be kind of funny. So here we are, ascension. We're going to talk about ascension. We're going to talk about the beauty of being 5D, the beauty and the power. Because isn't it wonderful if you can be beautiful and powerful too? And we're talking about powerful in the 5D sense, not the powerful as in we're here to eat everybody's brains out and be the best of everything and win at everything and have all the trophies and win and beat and win and beat. Because that's it's quite barbaric. It's not fun to be around at all. It's not attractive on any level. So let's learn about being 5D, everybody. We're going to talk about being multidimensional and the wonderment and the powerment of who we are and what we are becoming in our beautiful remembrance of who we are that's being activated in every day and in every way. We're going to practice our cards at the end. We're going to do a quick little channel and a quick little download from the heavens. What we wanted to talk about is all of these beautiful things that are coming from the collective, the things that we need to look at, the triggers that we have are so very needed, so that we can arise into something new and choose for ourselves. Right? We're choosing for ourselves that we don't need anybody. We don't need a specific guru. We don't need a specific person to say that they are the leader of us. There are those that are sent here that do have a lot of experience with multi-vibrational, dimensional informations and wisdoms and how the multidimensional bodies work. And as we awaken to our gifts and skills, each of us will find our own unique talents, our own unique interests, and our own unique excitements. But we don't know that unless we're doing things a little bit differently and in training to ourselves a bit differently. And that's why we have the 3 E's. The 3 E's are so important to becoming who you are as a multi-vibrational, multi-dimensional being, so that you're shifting your perspective from a 3D perspective into a 5D perspective. So it's really important that every day you do your daily ascension path work. Hello, beautifuls. And in that, you're looking at the 3 E's, and your 3 E's are so very important to continually communicate it within your daily essence of your affirmations, your physical activity, your mental, emotional, and spiritual activities. So your 3 E's are so very important. That helps you assist in and training into a 5D experience. You can't get to a 5D experience if you're doing everything that you've been doing and keeping the patterns of all the karmic patterns and the karmic people that have been in 3D. So it's really important that you move into that intention of practicing new physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual and sexual, everything that is the physical and the spirit, harmonizing as one. And I was doing a lot of research this weekend, a lot of research on many of the things that have been in the underground for humanity. And many of the things that there has been a lot of taking advantage of vulnerable and taking advantage of those that are have not had the knowing of self right from childhood. I've been stating right from the beginning, from what I was shown, I was one of the only ones that was given the downloads I was for the Adam Evantine projects, and how the various church and state belief systems and how the various church and state practices and dogmatic systems have taken that sense of self out of us through the entrainment of doctrination, of doing certain things and being certain things, and not allowing that creative expression to be the ultimate unity, individuality, and the unity of the own genuine, authentic self. Everything that we are as unique beings, like our DNA, is unique handprint and thumbprint of who we are, and it is only designed by Source Creator God. Each and every person has a unique divine imprint of all of the timelines they've been on, all of the earth lifetimes, all of the celestial lifetimes, and all the councils they've been on, and why that DNA is so very important for us to make sure that we're nurturing and we're honoring that DNA. We're honoring it and nurturing it, and we can't do that if we belong to programs and if we belong to belief systems that are continuing patterns of human degradation. We are multidimensional beings, and in this physical body, we are blessed with an aura and an energetic field that spans 8 to 20 feet outside of us. And in those fields, it also includes the systems that we've talked about. And part of those systems help this beautiful physical experience work. The inaugurate system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the excretory system, all of these things are systems that help this matter thing work. And then we have the sacred DNA, and the sacred DNA is a blessed design. And why it has been so unexplainable throughout all time is because we haven't seen it from the higher consciousness perspective. We haven't seen it through the aligned God perspective. And why we're starting to harmonize and really let go of allowing church and state to be what it is, kind of set off to the side, a little bit separate. And then allowing us to take bits and pieces of what we want from church and state and harmonize into this new beginning of this higher umbrella of being godly, source creator, the creatorhood. We want to remember the multidimensional bodies because it's how we heal. You cannot move forward in any higher evolution without understanding your multidimensional bodies, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual. And this spiritual body means that you are here for a spiritual journey. That's all you're here for. And how we move about the spiritual journey is the 3 E's, which equals the 4th E, evolution, and then the 3 A's, which equals the 4th A, alchemy. And you cannot alchemize what has been church and state unless you're honoring and you're intending through the new reality co-creation. How are you intending your energy and how are you focusing your energy? That manifests. And so how you're operating in this new experience of being multidimensional, multivibrational, divine human, you are divine sacred being in human form, if you're not allowing yourself to step up into new vibrational beliefs, because again, that lower vibrational experience cannot go above this base minimum of earth. So you're the one that has to choose higher vibrational beliefs. If you don't choose higher vibrational beliefs, you will be, again, those sheaths that are being pulled off will be moved to the lower subsystems. And they will be just experiencing an earth that will look like earth, but it will become darker and darker and darker because their energies don't have any light and they're not moving in the intentions of light. And so all of those beings that are being moved off are the darkest of the darkest, and they're going to collaborate in the darkest of darkest earths, which will eventually, become their own cataclysms. Every single human on this planet experiences a different earth based on their consciousness. And what is consciousness and the dimension of what they experience is the vibration that they hold, the vibration of who you are within. If it's a dark, lower, sad vibration, or a depressed, suppressed vibration, or subjugated vibration, or limited vibration, or restricted vibration, then those are lower vibrational experiences, and they will stay on the negative of the infinity. And then again, if you're not choosing to neutralize your core vibration, if you're not choosing to entrain something higher and entrain something more powerful in your multidimensional systems, then it will just continue in lower dark and it will be moved off. Because again, the two vibrations cannot exist in a higher light. So you're either going to have to choose that higher light and intend higher light and have the alliance with higher light and start alchemizing, which are the 3 A's, becoming the 4th A, which is alchemy. And if you're not doing the work, which is what we call doing the work, is equal to alchemy. So doing the work is alchemy, which is looking at your 3 A's, which is the 4th E. How are you evolving? How do you care about your progression of your soul? There are soul based on the heavens, based on who you are as a multidimensional heavenly being, the many heavens. It has nothing to do with religion, because religions sometimes don't teach us the fullest understanding and the fullest truths of who we are as multivibrational beings and why we have to go through a planetary ascension, because the religions have not been serving us as far as who we are as infinite beings of the eternity that is the Holy Christ, is the Holy Creator. It has nothing to do with religion. It doesn't say that you cannot keep your religion. Keep your religion and do whatever it is you do. But the religions in of so far have created a lot of separation, a lot of discrimination, a lot of judgment, because the religions and church and state are not dealing with who we truly are, what we exist within, and what is going on within us. Those 3 questions have been left out of church and state. They have been created and they have been putting forward incorrect, misguided, not complete information. And this is why we see that many have gone into cults and covens, secret societies, and all of these secret things that they do in secret. And of course, and as we've said from the beginning, if you know of any of these things in society and it is all secret, then there's a reason. It's because they're hiding or doing things that they're not. Their spirit is not fulfilling of being grateful and being honor of. You're not feeling in pride of yourself because you're having to hide it all. And once you do all of those things in secret, then you're telling your spirit and you're telling your multidimensional selves that what I'm living within is not my truest self. And you keep suppressing the spirit, you keep suppressing the spiritual voice, you keep suppressing the chakras, you keep suppressing who that inner child is that really wants to come forward and be the 3 E's. So there's a reason why we've come forward with our light wisdoms, even though my channel has been shadow banned. YouTube, I will be suing YouTube for everything that I've experienced as far as the corruption of my channel being shadow banned, when it's what humanity needs. Flipped out of the deck, and it was the Judgment card. It fell on the floor, so that's going to be pivotal in today. So that's what we're talking about today is judgment on the collective, in what we've allowed ourselves to believe to be true, and then the world. So it's an end of a cycle. So the world just dropped out and it flew over there. So judgment and the world, those are powerful alchemy cards. So we're going to have no choice but to evolve. So the Father is bringing up all of these experiences that we all look at, the 150 types of different religions that we've all been brought up in, and that's fine. It's like going into the mall, and those are the box stores that we go in to wear different things, to practice different things, to bow to different ways and bow to different walls, and how we bow and when we bow, and all of these things that we practice. And it's not saying that is wrong. And there's very beautiful things in rituals, and there's very beautiful things in sacrament. There's very beautiful ritual things in these types of experiences. But when you're going so far as to take that creative sense of self out, and you're dogmatizing it, and you're doing it, and you're entraining these lower vibrational ways that are of such practice that it limits the creative being, and it limits the spirit and the soul that it is, and it limits the emotional body for healing and for transmuting, then you're absolutely going into degradation and extinction. You will go into entropy. We have multidimensional beings, and we are multidimensional beings. Multidimensionality means that we have access to multi-dimensions. We have access to many different threads of light, many different threads of knowledge, many different threads of becoming, many different threads of being. So if we're not allowing ourselves to explore and express and experience all that we are, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually, if any one of these is left out or not in balance, and this is what we do in our healing classes, this is what we do in my webinars, this is what we do as private sessions, is we look at where are you right now? What is being suppressed and subjugated? Where is it on your journey that you are feeling the suppression and not pulling those energies out to face and alchemize? Now, in much of the research that I was doing this weekend, there was a lot of the things that are coming up for humanity to heal and transmute. It must be transmuted at a collective. I've done a lot of alchemy this weekend, but again, I'm a part of a teacher and a role to bring these things forward for the collective on what the collective is moving through in ascension, where the collective energies are at right now, how are we doing with the alchemy of what we're going through and what we're seeing and what we're being presented with, and then how to move forward in a higher vibrational way so that it's going to serve us in very positive and loving ways, and including, again, the best parts of what we want to pull out from what we have been through and start alchemizing into something new and better and richer. We cannot move into ascension by practicing old ways that suppress who we are emotionally. We cannot move into 5D if we are practicing old ways that suppress who we are sexually. We cannot move into 5D, higher vibrational ways, into evolved androgynous ways if we are doing anything and any practices that suppress us mentally and intellectually and physically. And so in a lot of these underground secret things, it's where some people have gone, and unfortunately, they've even come up with a lot of manipulation and corruption to even lure and groom people into these cults and these groups and these what they're showing me is armies. It's very sad. And I've had to do a lot of processing this weekend because of how sad it was, the things that I've seen. And there's many groups, many names for these groups, many names for these experiences. The shadow governments know some of these groups, and they have been involved in some of these groups because many of the people and the beings that have been in these groups are elites, and many of these have been officials, so-called officials. And again, why I never say what your title is and what you think you are doesn't matter, because you're not ranked. It doesn't matter what you think you do behind closed doors and how much you think you're hiding and how much money you think you have behind you. It does not matter, because judgment is judgment, and the end of cycles will be the end of cycles, and every single human will have to face their deeds and their belief systems. And you have to look at, what did you believe to be true about your ancestry lineage, your familial lineage, what you were taught in school, what you were taught in church and state, and then how can you become the version of you that you choose to be? And there are those of us that are placed that are masters from higher heavens that bring the synopsis of what has been on humanity, and it's been a big a very big bundle of density, huge density, a lot of discriminations, a lot of judgments, and a lot of low vibrational density. It's very low vibrational. We help put it all on the table. And then in these alchemizations of these mass awakenings, which we are going through a mass awakening right now, and that's why every day can feel different vibration, and we're going to have to get used to how the body feels and moves through these big energetic shifts. Because even if one person awakens, it changes the collective energy. Everything affects the all. All you do affects the all. All that you put out will return. That's why we have to become very aware of how are we healing humanity. You are a part of humanity. You cannot not be. So we do have to look at everything that you are and see about harmonizing it into a higher vibrational experience. But what do you know to be true? What you thought about who you were, what you thought about what you existed within, what you thought about what existed truly within you is not the case. Source creator is within us all. It cannot not be. Source creator is within every breath. Source creator is the thing that activates alchemy. Source creator is the spirit that alchemy emotionally. One thing I wanted to talk about, because I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it, because I want each and every one of you to do your own research. There are things that I've posted on my YouTube page for you to various documentaries about people that I have found that have been in the know, that have been pulling information and their research that they've done, and they've done their checks and balances. Very genius people that have been in the absolute, their hands have been in the density aspects and the hidden aspects of social experience. So these are the videos that I brought forward and I've shared. The Weinstein and Epstein one, the fellow that was for the UN, and the abuses that were going on within the various projects of the UN. And these are various social and state organizations. These are various social and state experiences. But when we get to such imbalances on our planet, and there's such imbalances for survival, then this is where the whole power thing comes into play. And even you can find the most so-called balanced, kind and good person, when they're in situations where they're seeing whole collectives and whole cities and whole countries that are in such devastated places where they're having to beg and plead for their survival, this is when the power games begin. And if you watch that, I'm asking all of you to please watch that documentary, because you cannot go forward as a unified human without knowing this, because there'll be many things we have to collectively heal. And in these certain states of organization, whether it be judicial, law, medicine, hospitals, we all know that there's been a huge thing within the hospitals and how corrupt they've been, and the people that are in the hospitals, it's everywhere. We have to look at all of the corruption on our planet, where and how high it comes from, and what's the core reasons. And I'm giving you these core reasons. And so you can kind of jump to the platform that says, okay, let's look at the higher umbrella. How do we know where we've been in the really big challenges and the pitfalls that we've had, and the very dark places that have been manifested because of not healing and viewing ourselves and believing ourselves to be multidimensional? We have not seen ourselves in the highest light wisdom experience. We have kept ourselves in the knowledge of church and state. Now, because the leaders have not allowed these teachings to be global, because they're the ones that are benefiting from these lower church and state affiliates, because they're all benefiting from corruption. They're all benefiting from these affiliated aggregates that are abusing, and they're corruptive abuses. In and of essence, there are the documentaries that are still not talking about it as for the point that I'm going to add right now. Many of these ways that have been going on for hundreds of years, some of them for thousands, although it's becoming more blatant in our faces as to how dark and how degrading it is, and the things that are involved, like cannibalism, human sacrifice, children being chained to walls, and children being chosen from for sexual slavery, and for all other types of slavery. Because I've been having my energy and my consciousness having to tap into those energies to pull up the psyche experiences, to pull up the psyche collective experiences, to pull up the densities, and then do my own transmuting at a collective level. But I also have to understand it psychologically. I have to understand it socially. I have to understand it where and how did they come from the religions that we were taught from, the separations and the judgments and the shame and the guilt that we were taught from, and why people go into those lower, darker secret societies and cults, because they're based on feeling the shame and the degradation of oneself, and the lack of self, and the no love of self, and all of those things that are the pit hole and the mud of humanity. They're not building you up in love. They're not building you up in forgiveness and love and compassion. They're not showing you the way. So this is why it's really important, as my videos have been stating, that These children and our collective right now needs people to step forward, needs information, and needs wisdoms to come forward and show people the way to heal. Various of the things that will be coming up for the collective and what's been very dark and what's been very treacherous, and we'll have to face it and we'll all have to alchemize it. So I'm asking that some of you watch those videos, but there's even some that I didn't post that were just too far triggering, and I can mention just a bit of the topics right now that are very true and real. And there are very many groups on our planet derived from, it doesn't matter what they've deriven from, beliefs or churches or states or whatever, because it's very, very deranged, and it affects the brain on every level. It affects the brain on how these groups, these very extremist groups that lure and call vulnerable people in, and part of it is done through MK Ultra and the various practices to deconstruct the divine human, separating the conscience, separating the spirit of itself, so that you're deconstructing bit by bit, mentally, physically, spiritually, and sexually. You're deconstructing all of these aspects of self so that it is more pliable to be controlled and dominated. And these are many of the extreme groups of Satanic, Luciferian, and Ballal, Ballal, and some of them come from the ancient timelines of many of the corrupted cities that have been through so much trauma and devastation because of the enforcement of beliefs. And they've been so corrupt in their beliefs, and they've been so enforced in misogyny, and they've been so enforced in really corrupted beliefs on what misogyny is all about, and the glorification of being misogyny, and the glorification of hurting and harming, the glorification of punishment, the glorification of separating. And these are the intentions of some of these groups. These intentions of some of these groups are to, again, lure them in, lure the ones that are vulnerable, lure the ones that are not mentally stable in who they are. A lot of these people are picked and chosen. And then some of it, we do have to understand, some of it is within the soul's contract to experience. But if we're not shown how to heal and reclaim our power, how to heal and reclaim our light, how to heal and rebalance our light, how to heal and be alchemists, if we're not shown our connection is always with Source Creator, always with God, and has nothing to do with any of the churches or states, we have to see it this way to heal what has been. Because what has been is an absolute, it has been even lower than the scum of the lowest, scum in the lowest of ponds of scums of the darkest places. If there's something that can go beneath the lowest scum, that's what that is. And that is taking anything of any religious belief, and you're absolutely doing extremist brainwashing, extremist mind scraping, and then you're punishing the people that choose to be a part of these cults for having an emotional attachment, for having conscience to what it is that they're being told to do and what they're being directed to do. So they're literally creating demonic, weaponized humans. This is essentially what they're creating. And these are the agendas. And not only does it create demonic, monstrous humans that are in select cities and select places, and then they're paid by the underground, and they're paid by, this is the network of degradation on the planet. I'm giving you the overall global network of Satanic, Luciferian, Ballal, such type groups that focus and insert hate, that focus and insert the deconstruction of the human, that deconstruct the conscience, and they actually look at how we have been entrained through dogmatic church and state, and how the vulnerability of those insecure experiences, because if you've been only managed by church and state, you don't know who the fuck you are. If you're managed in the higher evolutionary light practices like I teach, if you are practiced in this higher way of evolving yourself and your oneness with Source Creator, then you're not going to fall in the vulnerability of how these people lure you in to become demonic weaponized beings, which is what they've created. And there are many cults and many covens that are like this all over the world. They then go into subgroups. It's a little bit slightly higher or different. They go into subgroups of what we've seen of the entertainment world, where they then get into the subcategories of these demonic groups through the satanic rituals, the rituals of people, the harvesting of organs. Not so much the violence of deconstructing through punishment and pain and torture and torment. That is the very lowest, where they've done all of the deconstruction, and they also include regular physical deconstruction. So they actually do dehumanizing beatings and dehumanizing sexualizations and dehumanizing mental work, dehumanizing military work where they're doing the chakra impalements with warfare, biochemical warfare. There's the poisoning that is also included, the dark occult, witch, and warlock. These people are really playing with the sacredness of life on the most disgusting, degrading way. There's no other way to put it. It is the most bottom of the most bottom of the most bottom feeders, and there are cults and covens that actually practice this, and they sign up to be a part of this disgusting lowest group of humanity, where they practice punishing you. They practice putting you through torture and torturous experiences. And then there's absolutely nothing on our planet that will heal it. There's nothing on our planet that will heal these people unless you are a multidimensional vibrational healer like myself, to reconstruct and reharmonize the spirit back within the matter body. But that is not going to bring back the damages that have been done in the brain through these various types of entrainments, mind scraping, patterned affirmations. They watch grotesque videos over and over again. They entrain their mind to normalize to pain and violence and debauchery, to pain and violence and the raping of people, the raping of children, and they remove their conscience. They remove how it makes them feel. And sometimes these people, and it's normal it's normal in the human evolutionary process for each and every human to tap a little bit into it so that we remind ourselves that we're always godly and we're always spiritual. The problem comes is when you join cults or covens or groups where it's a lowest group think, and you have many demonic people, many people that have been through various stages of the punishment programs and the MK Ultra programs, where you're being attacked on every level, and every level of you is being degraded. And there's no way out unless you are absolutely harmonized with Source Creator and you have that alliance with light. I only had certain versions of these types of treatments. I can see into them, and I'm able to see into them, and I've had certain types of the abuses. I haven't luckily been through the physical part of it, but on other planets I did, and I did have those visions and those downloads, and I did have to alchemize those and harmonize those. And they were it was very tormenting. Because that's what the intention is, to torment you. The intention is to torment you so that you have given up everything that you are, and you give yourself to these demonic people that tell you and do what you do. They tell you what to do. They tell you how many people to go out and sabotage, how many people to go out and torment, how many people to go out and rape, how many people to lure into prostitution, into trafficking. They are the demons, and they are the monsters that pull people back into the darkness and stay in the darkness, because you cannot retrieve your light. Being this is the last 3D dimension, this is the last 3D timeline, you cannot reclaim your light at this point. There is no more 3D timelines for Earth. There is only the shifting out of the Epstein Earth, which will continually get darker and darker and darker, and it will remain 3D, and it will get lower and lower and lower until it disintegrates, entropy, till there's nothing left. If you're not reclaiming your light and reharmonizing with Source Creator, that is the only spirit that alchemizes. It is the only way that your brain gets light, that your higher thought forms. If there is no light in your body, in your field, if there is no light coming into your experience, then you have no higher thought forms. There is no light coming into your cells. There's no light coming into your blood. There's no light in the movement of your life force, and therefore then you become an entropy experience, matter. This is why some of them have become so dark and degraded that they have done the debaucherous things, because the only act that there is of that life experience, that experience of life, wow, I'm back to life again, wow, I feel excitement again, wow, I feel that energy again, endorphins, the only way to do that is through the act of sex. This is the abuse of the life force, because they've lost it all in their practices, they've lost it all in the separation of who they are. They've lost it all in the incorrect, misguided, wrong beliefs about who they are, what they exist with, and what's going on within them. It's become so degraded, they have nothing left but then to practice the debaucherous sex, which is the only way that they can get a life force experience. Which is still, again, that's why many of them are diseased, and many of them are going through mental degradation and mental punishment. It's all punishment. So we have to look at this world in general on why this punishment factor became about, where the divine feminines, and many of these cults and covens, from what I have heard, many of these cults and covens were the vulnerability of divine masculine not healing their wounds, and divine masculine thinking and taking and hiding behind books and bringing scriptures into it to build themselves some false source of religious notions and some false beliefs that God wanted all men to be men, and God wanted all women to placate to men and to suck their dicks and be okay with multiple wives and multiple multiple situations and situationships, and be okay with the degradation of relationship. Be okay with the degradation of marriage. Be okay with the degradation of got several partners, and they're all sharing their life force, and therefore they're all diseased, they're all unhealed, they all don't know any clue about what they're doing and who they are in life. It's just a big cesspool of mess. That's why it's the underbelly of the underbelly. But there's many people in this world that absolutely, they're very rich beings. They go out and they seek more men to pull into their cults and their ways of practice, and they do the various deconstruction of being human. It is the deconstruction of being human, and they become weaponized monsters. And they are the ones that are directed, like the ones in the Calgary cult, they were the ones that were directed to do a lot of the impaling, a lot of the sabotaging, a lot of the experiences that were done to me. And so it's very important that each and every person look at pull up some of the videos that that you've got, like obviously those that are of the know, that are in the know of what's going on, because there's many of the stuff out there can take you down that black hole of getting you lost in the very dark stuff. But you just need to know the documentary ones of the ones that have been through it, that have survived. How did they survive, and what did they do to survive, and how did they heal? The ones that I have watched, many of them don't have a multidimensional healing system. They don't at all. They're just being seen by psychiatrists and counselors. There is no multidimensional healing system for these people. So we have to understand we need a higher vibrational healing systems on the earth, which is what I've been bringing forward and promoting for 17 years, is healing humanity. Is understanding the multidimensional systems, anything that you intend and conjure on a daily thought basis. Your thoughts, your words, and your deeds manifest. Your intentions, what you intend is absolutely the thought forms and the processes of how your brain is wired to get that next action and process. Everything affects everything else. We have multidimensional systems, as we've talked about. We have our chakra systems, which is everything that is spirit and everything that is divine, as well as the DNA, which is everything spirit and everything divine. They just happen to be held within your matter body. If you're not honoring the whole mechanisms of all that you are, and you're throwing yourself off with very dark and very corrupt and very horrible experiences, and people that think that these are the ways that will direct you into success or anything, we have to understand that first and foremost, anybody that instructs you or directs you in this way will only take you to hell. That's it. There is no way that any of these practices will ever rank you besides being ranked in the lowest vibrational hell that there is. And we've explained what hell is. It's not a place that's all fiery and there's not a little devil that sits there like this. That's not what hell is. Hell is the darkness of the brain matter, of the physical matter, and it is a place where it's just black mud. That's how it's been shown to me. It is black mud. And there is very little movement. There's very little movement in the cells, because the cells become darker, the cells become dying, the cells actually die off because there's no light. You're not getting the codes from the sun. You're not getting your practice and your commandmentship from you, who you are. You're not harmonizing those aspects in your soul fragments. You're not doing the integration work. So all of those things that you choose not to do because you want to stay in these lower practices, you're not giving your body and your multidimensional honoring of itself, the spirit of itself, the soul of itself, to harmonize as one, as the godly being that you are and you were born as. All of the religions have left this out. All of the religions have allowed us and wanted us to believe that God was separate, and we had to go to church and we had to go to state and we had to do all of these things to be accepted into heaven and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's all corrupt as fuck, because nobody in these systems of church and state are even going to be able to get into heavens, most of them. There's so many of them in church and state that are corrupt. Of course, there's ones that are not corrupt. But we're saying, if there is this much corruption on our planet, if the black web is billions and billions of dollars deep and wide, if there are platforms like YouTube, which is a $450 billion platform that has been knowingly taking money to silence 2,000 subscriber divine healer that is a feminine messiah, if there has been a YouTube platform like that, a social platform that goes against all of my human rights, it goes against the constitutional rights, it goes against the very basic fabrics of society. The policing in the societies know it. The policing in the communities know it. The government knows it. The Interpol investigations know it. Everybody knows and sees what has been going on with the discrimination and the 17 federal and criminal crimes with my life only. And I'm the one that was brought forward, educated and intelligent and intellectual enough to understand what's going on at the various vibrational threads and how we have become so corrupted to think that anything that punishes you and perhaps sends you away to these punishing camps and sends you away to get punished for weeks and weeks, and then to ingrain in you once again the dark human agendas, to then ingrain to you who you are, what you exist with, and what's going on within you that are totally false and just demonic and monstrous. So they don't feed you who you are as heavenly. They don't feed you as to who you are as creative. They don't feed you as to who you are as always eternally evolving your body, as to being eternally youthful. They will evolve you into becoming demonic, and your body will go into entropy and you will die. If there is no light in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, people, emotionally divine masculines, that's going to be our next point we're bringing up. Sexually and spiritually, if there's no light getting in all of the appendages of what you are, source is you, and you are source. It's in the center of your body, your chakras. Every one of these aspects are your field, your fields of light, your aura, your Merkaba. It's all inclusive. You cannot leave anything out. Divine masculines on our planet cannot only be physical and kind of intelligent, because if you're not looking at the wholeness of it, you're not intelligent. You just will never be. You will never get the highest light intelligence. The only intelligence on our planet is light intelligence, period. It's not in a brain chip, and it's not found on Google. The highest light intelligence is through the higher self in your highest light intelligent harmonization. And why we always align in every one of our practices. Every day, align with your higher self. Your higher self is the highest aspect of you that is always connected with Source, Creator, God. Has nothing to do with church. The churches and the religions were what we practiced to sort out who we were in physical form. But we're no longer low vibrational 3D people anymore. We can go straight to the umbrella, and we can go straight to the all creator God is. God is life, and life is God. If we punish, if we shame, if we take out, if we harm, if we brutalize, if we rape, if we torment, if we torture, if we beat up, if we chain to the wall, if we do anything, if we incest, if we do all of these things that are being done in the collective right now to the aspects of God, plus do it to the animals, plus do it to the earth, plus do it to the water, plus do it to the air, plus do it to all the animals, what do you think we are going to live on, or where will we be, dear lighted ones? I need everybody to be as beautiful as they are in their divine sacred hearts. This is a very important pivot point for humanity. If you don't understand that we are in and on the last 3D timeline, there will never be another incarnational 3D Earth, ever. This is it. There will be lower vibrational Earths in the lower vibrational universes, and they will be lower vibrational bodies. So that means that it will be as it is right now, or worse, because it can only be as much light as you've integrated, as you've practiced, as you've entrained. If you're not entraining your body to be greater light, if you're not entraining your body to be of higher light, then you cannot have the Merkaba fully activated at your 51% after you have cleared and cleansed all of your psyche wounds of divine feminine, divine masculine. No discrimination at all. No judgment, no punishment, no nothing. So again, if this is the case, to be a higher vibrational being, to be of the highest intelligence, to be of the highest intellect, what way would it be intelligent why everybody remains in secret and keeps playing there? Because you've been told and you've been shown, therefore thus then, you have already nailed your own coffin. Because there is not another incarnation. You will not be born back into another human body. There is no more 3D Earths. There will be a lower universe that all of these lower sheaths will be moved off to, and it's up to Source to then alchemize the triad of universes, and that's what Source does. Source does the alchemy. Source does everything at the 3 E's and the 4th E and the 3 A's and the 4th A at a higher level. He does it at the multiverse level. That's God. Mother, Father, God do this. That's what they do. They heal the universes. Mother, Father, God of all life, of all universes, of all forms, of all bodies, of infinite number of belief systems across the infinite number of galaxies, across the infinite number of planets, across the infinite number of universes. It's infinite, dear lighted ones. There's infinite beings in our multiverse. Infinite beings. So anybody on our planet that thinks that A, there's no aliens, there's no celestials, and why were they coming, and they're going to come at us and create third world? No. The people that are creating third world war are the shadow governments. The people that are creating third world war are these secret cults and covens that are demonizing and weaponizing humans that have been brainwashed and have been mind scraped and have been absolutely tormented and tortured because of these ridiculous beliefs that think you're going to be something, you're going to get clout, and you're going to get rewarded, and they actually pay you to be tortured. And then they show you how to build a business of it, which is the black web. And then they bid on people, and they bid on money, and they bid on the next coming up light worker, and they bid on the next coming up a talent. They bid on the next person that has talent in their talent agencies. And all of these are fed back to the darkest fuck shit. It is the darkest fuck shit of the planet that could be fuck shit. And underneath that fuck shit, there's another lower scum line, and that's even the lowest of fuck shit. And then somewhere, somehow out there, because everything's been designed by divine masculine, and divine women are involved as well, that feel as if they're going to give their power over and think that all of this abuse and all of this punishment is okay, because that's how we become manly. Really? That's the level of intelligence? You think that punishing people and tormenting people and killing people and chopping their body parts up and then eating them, that's okay? And then you do your blood thing and you do this and you do that? First of all, I've got an infinite number of questions. Anybody from any of these groups want to pose me with a question, you come at me. I would look forward to these conversations. Anybody that does cannibalism and drinks blood, you absolutely know that the blood of anybody is their unique DNA, it's their unique experience. It has nothing to do with what they think they're getting when they do the blood drinking. Their beliefs and their information is misguided and it's wrong. Anybody that drinks blood, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. It's wrong. Anybody that thinks drinking blood is okay and it's going to give you power and it's going to give you this and going to give you that, you're wrong. The only thing that it will give you is very, very sick. It will make you very, very sick because your blood is not their blood. Their blood is not your blood. And sometimes these bloods are tainted and sometimes these bloods are by lineage and by Akash and by the celestials and by your teams and by your guides and by your souls. Depending on what it is you have to learn, whatever it is that you do with intention and how you do what you do with intention, say those things out loud and write them down because that's your most important thing you can do your ascension path work with. Why you do what you do and how you do what you do. Bingo, right there. That's your karma. Why do you do what you do? You're going out to get blood because you want to be powerful. How do you do what you do? Well, I'm going to go take it from somebody else. I'm going to manipulate them. I'm going to lie to them. I'm going to give them some drugs and give them some poison. And then I'm going to take their blood. Okay, what you do and why you do it, boo, that's your karma. You're never coming back because you don't get it. You can get and you can have and you can be all of these beautiful things without touching a single soul. Every one of these lowest vibrational things, groups, groupthink, practices, voodoos, cults, back forest in the 1880s, whatever they were doing back in the deep forests of Africa, and all the practitioners that you've all paid to come and attack me. You will never, ever, 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 in a billion fucking evers, ever, 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 ever have me be broken under your foot. I will never submit to any of these life-defining truths of higher intelligence, that is, all life in creation is source. How you move with source and what you do with source is your outcome with source, and there are ways that you will never ever come back if you so wish to keep punishing and keep degrading what has been done to life. And when you degrade and when you defile, and when you are in the most vile state where you actually think that punishing and tormenting and torturing and physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, attacking and sabotaging and derailing just what was done with my life. And I was lucky I didn't have the physical side of the abuse, but spirit did show and I did have to feel what they did want to do with me physically because I heard their conversations and I heard what they wanted to do in these meetings and their little group chats on all these things that all of these so-called important elites, and they call themselves very important and highly ranked, but they're really not. They're really not highly ranked at all. They're very insecure, very damaged little boys in a man body. And many of them are very gender confused because, again, it goes with their punishment and the mind scraping and all the mental and emotional and physical abuses that they go through that they've signed up for. But when they sign up for these cults and covens that say, oh, we just dance in this forest, they get looted, they get lured in. But when they actually get into these cults and covens, it's something they cannot get out of because they literally sign their life and their soul away, which again is just an illusion. Nobody can make you be there. Some of these cults and covens actually think that I am one of their wives and I belong to them. It's a joke. It's an illusion. I don't belong to anybody. I am legally divorced. It says so in the court papers. And what you've signed on a piece of paper doesn't mean shit to me. And what you think you've done in the spiritual realm doesn't mean shit to me because it's not. It's false. It's fake. I'm owned by none. I would never be owned. I would never sign anything on a piece of paper that says I'm owned by you. I would never do that. The reasons why humanity is in the situation it is in because of the gross negligent imbalance on our planet that is made up by the systems and grossly abused and grossly negligent church and state systems that are grossly made up by all, how did we say that number was? 98.8% men, divine masculine, that are refusing to look at themselves and get healed. There are going to be mass awakenings where divine masculines will have to look at who they are and heal their wounds, and not go to the underground to find out who they are sexually, and not find out who they are within themselves and unbalance their divine feminine energies. Every human on earth will have to look at themselves, if they choose, it's always free will, to go through ascension. If you don't choose to go through ascension, you must know this caveat. If you choose to stay where you are and not integrate any light and not advance yourself and not evolve mentally, spiritually, sexually, emotionally, and intellectually, all that you are as a multi-vibrational being, if you choose not to do this, you must know this caveat. This is the final 3D earth. Write that down on a piece of paper. That is a human, creational, galactic, universal truth. Mother, Father, do you want to add to this? They've said, I've stated it very well. There will be opportunities, if you so choose, to go through the entropy process and continue yourself in dark practices. There will be opportunities only for some souls that have only gained the consciousness level through which, wherever their soul will beat in the lower frequencies. It cannot be any other way. You must understand consciousness, dear lighted ones. And what I'm so surprised and I'm baffled, I'm absolutely baffled at the leaders on this planet have not allowed consciousness teachings and light wisdom teachings to all of their peoples. Because everything from here on out is consciousness. Your soul can only go to whatever realm, to whatever vibrational thread, your soul. These are soul truths. These are higher vibrational, higher order truths. I'm not here to make you believe. I'm here to give you the caveats of truth. The caveats of truth are, if you continue these dark practices, your soul's consciousness can only go into the dimensional thread through which your consciousness was earned. If you did not earn the consciousness, you cannot go. You do not get the pass. You do not get the free ticket. And it doesn't matter how much money you think you fucking have. Your money means nothing. That's the most unintelligent belief ever. So look at your beliefs. Just because you think you're a billionaire, just because you think you're elite, and just because you have a technology company, or just because you think you're this and you're that, it has nothing to do with consciousness. If you are not aligned with consciousness, your spirit and your soul, your higher self, if you are not aligned and you are not gaining consciousness daily to keep up with the base medium of our planetary light and the base grid system of our planetary light, you cannot steal it, you cannot swap it, you cannot punish it. You cannot twist it, you cannot fade it, you cannot take it from somebody else, you cannot veil it. You cannot voodoo it, you cannot backcountry it, you cannot take any voodooist and practitioner that is the best in Africa, that is best across the world, because you've all tried it. You will not take any of these people and come together in a dark ass room and put as many people as you can and wish me death. It won't work, people. You will still go into entropy, all of you and every single one of you, all of your bodies and all of your brains and all of your futures and all of your future futures and all of your children's and all their incarnations. They will not go anywhere because you've chosen it. You've chosen it. These are the truths of soul progression. And I have a nudibus right here, and you will not go anywhere until you get these truths. This is the caveat of the day, dear lighted ones, for all humanity. Share my video strong and wide. Beliefs don't mean anything. Beliefs don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. And your church and state don't mean anything. They're not guiding you through ascension. They don't know the higher order of the heavens. If you choose to practice dark practices, cults, covens, secret societies, underground black web, whatever has been happening in the underground, cannibalism, raping children, hanging them to the wall, chaining them to the wall, organized projects through the UN, organized projects through the government, the black occult bullshit, the dark shadow bullshit that's been going on in the government, the shadow government bullshit. You all know what you've been doing. You all know the programs you've been doing. You all know the military programs. You all know what's going on in Area 51. You've all known what's going on with human abuse and human targeting and human hunting. You've all known it. And the longer you play as if you don't know it, the longer you play as if you're going to scapegoat somebody else, the longer you play with it as not going on, all of the victims are going to come out more and more every day. The light's going to keep bathing our planet every day. And if you keep choosing to continue to hide in the veil of darkness, to keep producing the veil of darkness, keep luring people and grooming people in the veil of darkness, you will never, ever, 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 ever in a billion fucking evers. You will only go as far as your consciousness has allowed, because that's the lowest consciousness on any planet. To think that abuse and punishment and shame and all of these things that have been done to humanity, to warp them and then bring children into it and then warp them and groom them into hate and groom them into weapons and groom them into their weaponized experiences, so that these peoples and these leaders can think what? What do you think of yourself when you actually think about this? I want to meet these people of these head corporations. I want to meet these people that think that they're going to organize a torture segment. They're going to organize to deconstruct and to dehumanize the mental process processes. We're going to dehumanize the spiritual processes. We're going to dehumanize the conscience. We're going to dehumanize the conscience so we can make human weapons. And we're going to make them into little demonic monsters. I want to talk to the head people that think that this is okay. I want the top fucking dogs. I want the top fucking dogs. I want you in an office and I will meet you there. I want the top fucking dogs that think that punishment and ripping humanity from its conscience, from its spirit, from its soul, and then building numbers upon numbers on this planet by giving people money and by giving people a false sense of self, giving these people a false sense of power, by luring these people in through the entertainment industry and thinking that everybody's a star. Meanwhile, they've sold their soul and there's no way back because this is the third final timeline. Do you see the travesty that has been done to humanity by believing in these low vibrational belief systems? These low vibrational beliefs, I'm going to give you power, I'm going to give you famousness, I'm going to make you a star, I'm going to give you lots of clout in the underworld. Okay, what does that give you? It gives you clout in the entropy. It gives you another piece of the mud that you're going to get. Okay, so you're in a big piece of mud, that's all you're going to go. You don't have any light in your body, you don't have any light circling in your brain, your cells are pure darkness, your chakras are not moving. Your systems that will allow you to go anywhere in creation, anywhere in creation as a spirit and a soul, I know who I am, thine word is. I impact all creation, dear lighted ones, because I've done the work. I know who I am, and I'm teaching you higher truths. If you choose to continue with these darker, lower vibrational beliefs of separation, discrimination, judgment, hate, and punishment, and pain, and torture, and torment, and sexual debauchery, they are the lowest vibrations of all earths. And if you choose to do that, as opposed to not healing your wounds, heal the wounds that make you want to go do debauchery, that make you want to have incest. Incest is not okay, people. If you are running cults and covens on incest, it's not okay. It's mental degradation. It is emotional manipulation. It is emotional abuse. It is intellectual abuse. It is abuse of the body. It's not okay. Incest is not okay. It's illegal. Spiritually, it's illegal, and it's illegal on the human form. This is why people in the spiritual laws are now being put in spiritual court. Incest is illegal. Get your dicks out of people's holes. And women, get your holes closed and cleaned. And it has to be said like this. The planet is incredibly vibrationally imbalanced. We are moving forward at rapid paces, and everybody has their pace and their temperament as to how they move through ascension. It is never okay for incest. It is never okay for molestation. You are crossing boundaries to have that body safe and held within itself as godly, as safe within the earth, as safe within its collective. It will never walk around the collective feeling safe if it goes through incest and molestation or rape. These things are not okay, people. Get yourselves healed. If there is government organizations to go feed the children and save the children in Oxfam, and there are absolute abuses, every single one of these government agencies will go through their levels of karma. Make no mistake about it. Because it's not okay that certain people on this planet, because they live in poverty, they are held to absolutely no litigation, they're held to absolutely no human rights, because they can't afford a lawyer to speak on their behalf, and to sell their children into sex, because the only thing that they can do is sell their children or eat for the next day. How is any of this okay? And humanity, you need to look in the mirror. Anybody that thinks that they're holding a title, if they're holding themselves as any order, and you say that you have done these things and you have been involved in these things and you have turned a blind eye and you've gone through judicial process and you've gone through legal process and you've filed false documents or the bearing of false witness in any way, and you're just making signatures happen and you're being bought and sold back and forth to make sure that none of these impoverished women get heard and none of these children get seen for who they are with the babies that are in their bellies by people from organized groups. There are numbers actually out there. Go watch the video I posted and do your own research. Look up the number of young children that were pregnant by those that were sent in to be of help to the people that were in poverty. And they're now at a point where the man had said, the people in these impoverished places are now saying, don't come back because all you do is rape us. How is that okay? We are going to be at a point, humanity, and it must be faced. Every world leader, every dollar that you have put toward nuclear weapons and information weapons and your drone weaponry systems, you should absolutely look at yourselves as who you are as human. You should absolutely look at yourselves. This is the last 3D Earth. This is coming from the councils of the federations and the councils of the systems of light. because we work on behalf of evolution, of going forward and going upwards into the highest intelligence, into the highest level of who we are as health, love, and light for all creation. And choose to believe whatever you want to believe in your beliefs. That's fine. Continue to go to your churches and have your churches held for those in safety and love for the peoples, which is what it was always supposed to be used for. Many and more churches are being used for different things nowadays, and you all know it, and you've all been seeing it. And it's been shown to you on your TV screens and all the things that are in the underbelly. And yes, we're making great advances. But we are at a pivot point, dear lighted ones, and we must talk about it very seriously. This is the final 3D timeline. You're not going to be given another incarnation in 3D on this planet. Gaia will move into New Earth Star. The New Earth Star is where 5D humanity and 5D Earth will be, and she will be moved into the bedding, and she will be directed by the Galactic Federations and the billions of ships on behalf of the Galactic Federations into her new galactic bedding. There will be switch-offs every day and every month for those that are on the very lowest of the very lowest of the very lowest that continue hate, demolishing, nuclear wars, and the disregard of all life. And if you are in these energies and you completely disregard divine feminine, divine masculine energies as pure balance within yourself, pure balance within our social collective, and pure balance within all futures, then it will be a very hard time for you to ever move forward, and you will remain in the mud realms. And as I said, because we're working, I'm just talking about the triad of the universes. There is a lower vibrational universe, and all the lower earths will move to the lower vibrational universe, which at that point, because this is just how evolution works, that lower universe will eventually be alchemized and be switched out. There will be higher vibrational choices in that lower vibrational choice, and there will be lower vibrational. So again, it goes off like this. Every universe works like this. There's the lower, which keeps going to lower, lower, which keeps going to lower, lower, which keeps going to lower, and the higher keeps going to higher. There will be, as Mother just said, there will be opportunities in the lower universe for you to recalibrate yourself into slightly higher, and then slightly at some point move into the universe that we're moving into. But that's evolutionary, and there's no such thing as time, and who knows how long that will take, because it depends on how much you've allowed yourself to be degraded. Our cells, our DNA, everything that makes us up as divine sacred humans, the DNA, the codons that are in every DNA is unique only to every person. The codons are unique to each person. So why anybody thinks that drinking blood would be okay? Because you have your own unique system of who you are, within who you are, the systems, the organs, and everything is within who you are. So why would anybody that is intelligent conceive that drinking blood would be an okay thing? Because you have no concept of who you, again, your belief about who you are, the belief about what is within you, the belief about what you're within is completely skewed and inaccurate, misguided, and half there. It's not intelligent. Well, let's take another thing, cannibalism. Now, who thinks that cannibalism is anywhere held within higher intelligence? Again, you're eating divine life in the most abhorrent way, in the most cruel way, in the most darkest, negligent, corrupt way that ever could be done on earth. But if that's your kick, I'm just giving you a caveat. You don't know who you are within yourself. You have no idea who you are as source creator. You have no idea what's going on with your blood and your cells and your brain and your thought processes. There's a disconnection between all of your multidimensional parts if anybody thinks these things are okay. You don't know what you exist within because you don't know that you are existing within all creation. You're abundant in all things. You don't need to eat people because you're abundant in all things. All of creation is abundant for you. You don't understand what you're existing within. And then what's going on within you? You're God. You're God eating God. Anything that you do as a travesty to source creator, you can guarantee that, again, we're going back to the two questions. Why do you do what you do and how do you do what you do will determine on where you're going to go. You're not going to get a free pass. I don't give a fuck about the bars and the badges and the names on your titles. I don't give a fuck about what you think you are and where you are. Don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter. Higher order is. Heavens are. Heavens have different rules than down here on earth. Down here on earth, money seems to get you by on anything. It does not change who you are as a soul. It does not change the depth of soul that you are. It does not change who you are on any level. Because people like myself, I can have nothing and I can be higher ranked than every single one of you put together, all together. If we put every world leader together, all together, if we wrap all the world leaders together in a bundle, I will still be higher ranked than all of you. There's no number to tell you how higher ranked I am because this is the stuff that goes on in your countries and you don't care. None of you are out talking about building bridges. None of you are out talking about healing the center. None of you are talking about healing the little children. None of you are talking about healing the lands and the water and the air. You sit and you argue back and forth a lot in Parliament, but you don't do anything. You're putting more energy and money into information and into nuclear. and to find out where everybody else is behind their borders and where everybody else is hiding and what everybody else is doing in secret. And then you have all these little secret agendas and secret clubs selling information and things back and forth. Okay, and then what? Then you're still running around in a low vibrational 3D earth, and it's still 3D, and you're not coming out of the box, and you're not getting into light, and you're not teaching what needs to be taught, and you're not teaching people how to heal themselves, and you're not teaching people how the highest light intelligence is within us. You do not have to go anywhere outside of you. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to punish anybody. You don't have to chain children on a wall. And whoever in their right mind, in the most intelligent of minds, in the most intelligent of people with the monies in their pockets, because you know who you are. The people that have the most money on this planet have done the most egregious. They have done the most egregious. And because this is how they play, they like to hunt humans in whatever way they can hunt them, whether they're little tiny girls and boys being chained so they can see which ones they're going to buy this week for their sexual slavery and whatever else they do. These are just some of the things that occur. Go do your research. Look up some of the documentaries of the survivors. And Diddy was just one little tiny caption. There's things that are much darker underneath it. And we all know there is. These things have to be faced. The caveat I'm bringing forward today, and we're going to get on with our cards, and we're going to get on with practicing who we are as light. The caveat that I'm bringing forward today, and all of you know it. Right from the highest of whoever's titles and whatever they are, and however much money you have, and whatever you're trading across borders, and whatever you think you are as a powerful person. If you are not connecting with your higher self, and if you are not connecting with the heavens, then there's little chance of you getting there. As a caveat, if you continue to practice these lower entropy things, punishment, degradation, beating people, tormenting people, attacking people covertly, attacking people, dark magic, covertly, sabotaging people, in the things that were done just on my case, there are things that are 100 times worse that are done to other people. And if you continue these, you will never come back into a 3D body, in a 3D timeline, in a 3D earth. You will be moved off to the darker operations and the darker universes. And as Mother said, there will only be opportunities given to only those that have earned the consciousness to go into the lowest capability of whatever a body will be at that low level. Now, those bodies in those lower levels will most likely be already born into disease. Because if there is no light, and if you have not harmonized all that you are as a divine being, if you have not harmonized all that you are as God, it doesn't matter what you call it in your church. It doesn't matter if you think you're a misogynist and you think that you're the godly person while you're touching on kids and you're raping your own family. Are you kidding me? Divine masculines, if you absolutely think you can walk around in your suits and you think that you are titled, if you think that you are titled and you are promoting this type of energy and you're promoting this type of business and you are promoting this as your family's business, you will not be back. You will not be back in a body. You will not be back in any timeline because it's worse than 3D. You are not allowing your children to walk around feeling safe. You're allowing them to walk around feeling like the victim that you have thought you are and you never got healed because you chose not to heal yourself and face who you are as you're wounding. And you can stand in front of me and I will tell you 100,000 times, go get fucking healed. The number of children that have been affected on this planet by the adults and the generations before them of being absolutely ignorant and choosing not to heal, and then creating corrupt systems within healing systems, like medicines and like big pharma and like the healing systems of hospitals. And there's corrupt people all in every system. Why is that? Why is that? Because there has been a certain level of disconnection. People are not being taught who they are. People are not being shown who they are. People are not being shown what they exist within and not what exists within them. Nobody is being shown by good role models. And why am I suppressed? Why is my channel suppressed? YouTube, I will take you to court and I won't come out and I'm not going to settle. YouTube, you're going to go to court with me and we're going to argue this out in whatever way we can, and I'm not going to come out and I won't settle until I am given what I'm given. My channel will be seen all over the planet. Our planet deserves to know who we are as universal beings of divine light. We are under the highest umbrella of God, Source Creator, the God. And the best gods from all timelines are now awakening, and I'm one of them. I activate healing, and I activate motion of the spirit within all people, all beings. I activate the soul. Dear lighted ones, I bring forward truths. If you choose to continue dark practices, if any time is left for you at all, you might want to alter course. The only way through the gates and the only way through for you to have another body in another timeline, in another earth that will ever be light, if it will ever be. You might get a lower vibrational body that may be diseased if you continue these low vibrational practices. Your body can only do so much if you are not entraining it as the commander of the Christ that you are, to know that you are light and you are love and you are eternal if you so choose. If you choose it not, you may never ever come back in a human body. It might be a lower vibrational body of whatever form that will be, and it might be perhaps diseased because you haven't brought the consciousness up. You've chosen not to bring consciousness up. And what is consciousness? Consciousness is the knowing of the I am presence with all the other I am presences. All is me and all is one. I am one and I am all. All that I do affects the all. All that I put out comes back to me. Is there higher intelligence, wisdom? Of course there are. I'm connected with source, creator, God. All that is God, all that is source, all that is God, all that is source. Every breath, every cell, every chakra, I am awake. I am alive. Of course, we've been visited with aliens and celestials. Otherwise, there would be even more of us on the planet that would be going down into the abomination of cannibalism and chaining children up to walls. How okay is any of this, dear lighted ones? We have to awaken, dear lighted ones. We have to ignite spark within you to say, who are you? Children are being trafficked and sold to groups and cults and covens and elite people that think this is okay. Divine beings of a Messiah level of ranking in the heavens has been targeted for 50 years. I've had 3 years where I've been left alone. 3 years out of my 54, I've been left alone. I don't have proper ID of my birth. I've not been given proper ID from all that I am. There is a shadow government and there are shadow people that are keeping things that are rightfully mine, that are legally mine from me. Why is that? Why is there such domination and control when I am the only one speaking truth for healing humanity and taking as many through the 5D gates as they want to? They have free will to know there is more. They have free will to know there are better role models. They want you to see what they want you to see. They want you to know that going in that mall and that one store is all that you will ever know. And you won't come out. And if you do, you're going to get beaten. You're going to get tormented. You're going to get tortured. You're going to somebody will tell you in some stupidity, because this is the ignorance. And if you are one of these people, and if you choose to come before me and be enlightened, then come before me and be enlightened. Because anybody that tells anybody, let's just take the emotional body away from somebody and we will beat them and we will torment them, we will torture them and we will MK Ultra them, all of their emotions out of them. So they walk around numb and dumb and they will be our weapons. Anybody in any level of anything that is life. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If this has been a military agenda to dehumanize and de-emotionalize anybody, there will be absolute certain hell in your soul's Akash. It will be certain hell in your family's lineage. And you are damning your children to the karma that you have chosen to ever, ever, ever think that any of this would be okay. You are literally taking the divine human and you are demolishing them. You are degrading them. You are deconstructing them. You are demantalizing them into humans of monstrous weapons of your choice and direction. And you tell me, anybody on this planet tell me, I want anybody to come forward. I want the top fucking dogs. I want the top fucking dogs. I want the top fucking dogs that designed this agenda and said, this is what we're putting on the table. This is what we're going to do with certain humans. This is what we're going to do with, we're going to pinpoint certain humans. We're going to pinpoint certain starseeds. We're going to pinpoint certain vulnerable ones that already have a little bit of mental dysplasia, a little bit of this and a little bit of it. We're gonna lure them in. We're gonna create agendas, and we're gonna do this to certain humans. And then we're gonna start demantalizing them. We're gonna start mind scraping them. We're gonna start taking the emotions out of them. We're gonna start really getting them all confused about what right and wrong is. And then we're gonna normalize them to the most grossest abuse by cannibalism, by raping, and by cutting up their bodies, and by doing this to children. These things are being done. These things are being done. Children are being lured. There's people in the collective that are being groomed to be demonic leaders, to be satanic leaders, to lure people in and do voodoo and sex magic and sex orgies and sex rituals and absolutely demonize life force, demonize the practicing of life force, demonizing who we are as divine beings, that brutalizing and punishment of What has been a sacred sexual experience and if you have a sacred partner and you create sacred sex with them and you share your sacred life force and you heal. When you're sharing your life force sacredly, when you're sharing it with beautiful emotions, when you're sharing it with beautiful healing and intentions, when you're doing what you do and how you do with intentions of love and beauty, when you do this, you heal and you become eternal. You become godly. That is what was meant in the very original liturgy. You are made in the image of Divine Mother, Divine Father. You are both godly. Learn it, be it, so be it. If you absolutely negate what's been going on in our collective and you choose not to look at it, then you will be along with the darkest because you're choosing not to look at parts of you that have to be looked at. That's your shadow. These things are going on in every community. There's court cases going on right now of those that have been absolutely accused and those that have been doing the harm and the egregious harms. And there will be court cases coming out even after those. Because there's many more victims of mind scraping, many more victims of low vibrational shadow government agendas that have taken bits and parts of humanity and shown them that these things are okay and they've normalized it. How in anybody's right use of anything, how is normalizing incest okay? I want the person that just put mentally ill on the bottom. Whatever this ID is here, they're one of the ones that is part of the global hate group. I want anybody to tell me, how is incest normal? I want you to ask this question to yourself right now. How is incest normal? What does that do to the emotional body? How does that person walk around feeling safe? Do you walk around disconnected? Because you're saying ridiculous things without even knowing anything about me. All you're doing is just projecting your hate, and I'm going to throw it right back at you. Sit back in your hate. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about intelligence. You don't know anything about who I am. You don't know anything about the pains and the errors because you haven't studied anything. You're just sitting there, you're being paid to hate, you're being paid to attack. You don't know anything because you haven't studied psychology, you haven't studied anything above what it is to be hateful and get paid for it. So sit back down in your seat, Satan. It's time for you to sit down and be classed and schooled. How normal is it to torment and torture little children and having sex with them and being chained up and having them being chosen from by elite people that think it's a game, or being sacrificed, or being poisoned and bludgeoned? Or to have a woman stoned in the village because somebody looked at her and somebody looked at her. Or to be sterilized. For a woman to be sterilized so that she never has babies again. And who makes that decision and how was it done and why? That's only one of the abuses happening in Canada and has been happening for a very long time and nobody had any rights to it. For a woman to have her clitoris cut off because the people that did it and directed it didn't think that she should feel and enjoy pain, and she should enjoy her orgasms, and she should enjoy anything that is arousing and beautiful. Having a clitoris is part of being divine, and who says otherwise? What are these low vibrational beliefs that says deconstructing your body and having you absolutely to monsterize your body, to monsterize what is beautiful and sacred, to monsterize what is beautiful and sacred, the emotional body, to demonsterize what is the sexual life force body, and for any person to think that they are higher intelligent, that they are ranked to say, no, you're not going to have a clitoris because we don't let you feel pleasure? Are you kidding me? And then you hide behind it and say, it's our religious belief. Bullshit. That clitoris belongs to her body, and she has a right to do whatever she wants with that body and have pleasure and have whatever she wants with her body, in her body, of her body. There is no person outside of her to make a decision on that woman's body. That's her body. It's her soul's blueprint. Her soul's blueprint will offer her any direct routes that she can do so she can navigate who she is, she can become a master of who she is, and she can choose for herself. That's being a divine master. She cannot choose to be a divine master if people are handling and direction and veiling her and lurking her like a little Truman Show and handling her like she's a little token in a fucking game that she has no dice to and she didn't even know she was in the game. Do you see how deplorable the activity has been on this planet? And anybody on this planet, you need to absolutely look at every one of these things and tell me. And you have to go through the energies on your own and you have to alchemize them on your own. Who are you? The lower vibrational behaviors on this planet must be pulled out and they must be looked at. Any level of punishment on this planet is not okay, and everything is resolvable and healable. If you think that torturing and tormenting and punishing and taking the emotional body out of somebody and warping the emotional body out of anybody, if anybody thinks that this is fine and okay, you have created monsters on your planet. And how are you going to heal? And how are you going to come up in a court of law? Because I will prove each and every one of you. I will prove each and every one of you as guilty, and each and every one of you will be sentenced to life in prison. on every victim that you have done this to. And I will be a lawyer in that, and I will help make new laws. Every life on this planet, from insect to human, whether you're in an Oval Office or whether you're in a back office of a church or in the basement of a church underneath an upside down star with a little child sitting in the middle of it, you will absolutely see me in court, and I will run circles around each and every one of you. I am the higher order heavens, and I'm coming down to earth here, and I'm grounding myself. I ain't going nowhere. We're going to come together and we're going to build bridges, because what has been going on has been the most abhorrent playground in all our galaxy. There's been abuses that have been just abhorrent, despicable. And you all think that you can dump these things and hide them in the ocean, and you can dump these things and hide them in destroying of your evidence. What has to happen first, dear lighted ones, for you ever to be considered for a higher evolutionary timeline, for a higher evolutionary infinite bodies, for you to give good karma back to your children? What has to be done right here and now? And I will tell you, and we're going to move on. Spending this much time on it every day and every week is just unconscionable. It shows you the lack of intelligence. It is so dark and it is so vile. And I'm talking to the country leaders. You're damn right I am. Because you know what's going on in your country and you're allowing it. What happened in Gaza was inexcusable. It's inexcusable. Sacred lands, and that's what you have done. A sacred divine feminine, and look what you have done. The only reason why I'm sitting and the only reason why I come forward every day is the God, the Creator, Mother, Father, and the infinite number of celestials that I stand on behalf of. Because this planet will not degrade any more hybrid life. This planet will not degrade any more oceans. This planet will not have any more stupid leaders that think that nuclear war and trading children back and forth is a way of business. Are you kidding me? Can it be more ignorant? Why do you think celestials have been here since the beginning of time? Because humanity has refused to heal its wounds. The only way forward here, dear lighted ones, for you ever to have positive karma, for you ever to give your children any incarnation of positive light karma. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs say. It doesn't matter. Because you have been holding behind and you've been hiding behind your religious beliefs while you've been doing all of these horrible things. And I'm telling you right now, it matters how you play. It doesn't matter how you wrap yourself. It matters how you play. It doesn't matter what your titles are. It matters how you play. It doesn't matter what your leadership band is. It matters how you play. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters how you play. It doesn't matter what you think you are and who you think you are. What your cults and covens are and the beliefs you hide behind. Or the books you hide behind, or everything you call secret, and everything you do in the dark. Everything done in the dark is coming forward. It has to be. We have to heal the darkness to move forward in 5D. And those that choose not to, as the mother said, there will be opportunities, but only in lower vibrational universes through which your consciousness is equal to. You cannot go higher than what your consciousness is at. You cannot swap destinies. It will not happen. Those gifts and skills are being stripped from everybody that thinks that's a thing and that's a practice. If you swap destinies, you will be stripped of all your gifts and skills, and you will be placed exactly where you were going to stay. Because you're not honoring higher order law, you're not honoring universal law, right use of free will, non-interference. If there is any government agenda of such as past and present or future, you better bet that you will never ever move forward in your intelligence, and you will be moved out or plucked out. That is just the way. From here on out, it is higher consciousness, unity, and building bridges of unity and healing the people. And how are the people going to get healed? Stay and do whatever religious practices you want, but light wisdoms must be on the planet. Because light wisdoms are the only way. Light wisdoms and multidimensional healings, light wisdoms and multidimensional healings, light wisdom and multidimensional are the only way that whatever has occurred on this planet that will come forward and everybody has to face. And the court cases and the churches that are being ripped up and the church and state that are being ripped up and the affiliations and all the Epstein little secret agendas and all these secret clubs that everybody's been involved with and the money passing back and forth and what you really do on these little islands is all going to come out. And all your little tapes and all your videos is all going to come out. And it's not going to be one light worker that's doing anything to you. It's the light on the planet. Because you've all been given enough time. This planet will evolve. And you get to choose. Do you want to stay in lower dark practices? You're not judged otherwise, and God will still love you. There will only be the incarnation that you can move to based on your consciousness that you have earned. It matters how you play. If you have not earned the light, you will not go forward. If you have not earned the intelligence, you have not gone forward. If you have not earned the consciousness, you will not go forward. This is the final 3D timeline. This is universal, cosmic, galactic truth, and your soul belongs to it. You have a soul blueprint that belongs to all dimensions and all realms. What you do here matters on all other dimensions. How have you not seen this? How have you not known this? How can you behave in a better way now to create better practices, to create better unity and self-love and forgiveness, so that the only way forward is love and forgiveness for those that so desire to move forward in eternal life? Eternal life means that when we pass the 5D gates, you will have access to travel anywhere and however you want within the councils that you belong to and assisting with the evolutions of the light programs. And there will be many people that will choose to not believe in God and to not believe in spirit, whether I'm saying it's part of religion or not, because everybody that says those things are behaving and reacting from religious traumas, from other timelines that have their psyche woundings that have not been healed. I've been saying from day one, heal your psyche woundings. You're saying those things based on your woundings from your religions and your religious episodes. Church and state is not how we're going forward. We can pick and pull the best of church and state, and we can harmonize it into higher vibrational social systems that serve everybody. They're socio-altruistic. Why can't we? We're smart enough. If you can build a nuclear bomb, we can build systems that are going to work for the people, and everybody are fed, so that the women don't have to choose between selling a daughter and having food for their whole family. How despicable and how deplorable. Anybody that has been involved in those systems, you better bet, you will be facing every act and every deed that you have ever done. And this is for your own awakening. You cannot get away from it. You cannot run from it. You cannot swap it. You cannot destiny. You cannot change false information. You cannot destroy the evidence. Everybody knows what they've done with their body since the day that they were born here. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what's happened to them, and everybody knows what's been happening in their own choosing. You all know what's been happening with your body parts, people. You will have to face it, and it will weigh on your soul until you alchemize it. What you do to another will never go anywhere. It will sit on your soul, and it will be read at the time of transfer. The transfer into 5D or the transfer into lower 3D. Those are your options. Those are your options. What did you think? You were going to give it an infinite, eternal pass because you belong to a church and you give to the Cancer Foundation? It matters how you play, dear lighted ones. What you give your energy and time to, and your essence of your direction and focus to. These cults and covens across our planet must be pulled up. The only way through is through truth and making right on what you have done and chosen for yourself. Who are you, what do you believe in, and what is going on within you as far as who you are with God. And we activate God in all of our practices and all of our meditations. Go back to our 780 videos that have been shadow banned from the collective, never to be seen or heard, unless somebody that is most likely a man and in little clubs and little groups of men that sit there and determine how this divine feminine Messiah will ever be seen or heard from the collective, for the collective, to the collective in any way, based on their say-so. As I sit homeless, as the only gate through for their healing is what? The only gate through for their healing is what? Shall I say it, Mother, Father? Is me. That's what you've chosen. You've chosen to suppress me. The only way through for your healing is to get healed by me. And Anubis will stand before you. Does that give you goosebumps? Are you alive now? Are you awake now? Can you play like good children in the playground, dear lighted ones? Can you play as if your life means something? Can you play as if your soul means something? Could you play as if you've been here before? Because you have. How can you ever compete and judge yourself against someone that's been here 1,000 times more than you? How can you do that? You don't know. Source knows, your teams know, your higher self knows. Why don't you start connecting with what matters? Your higher self and your teams, your celestial teams, your alien teams, all that you belong with in higher realms. They know what your soul's blueprint is. Your cults and covens have no clue what your soul's blueprint is. And why? Again, we ask, is this of the highest intelligence that these little tiny people, and these little tiny monstrous little clubs, and these monstrous little hate clubs, and these monstrous little voodoo and attacking clubs, because all they want to do is blame and shame everybody else. That's all they're doing is blame and shame everybody else and keep attacking people that have light. And then when we come forward to speak light, we get even attacked even more. And then we have all of our money taken away from us, because God forbid anybody that is a Messiah, especially if she's divine feminine, ever have any money to help the collective in truly the ways that need to be done. And we're going to give money back to the women so that they don't have to sell their daughters to have sex with arrogant, unintelligent people because they're trying to buy and sell her. No, she's not gonna leverage her family. Divine feminines will never leverage her family. But you've had it this way, haven't you? You've all made it this way. This is the game you've all played. You've all played to the point where you're leveraging your children. And that's your intelligence. Each and every one of you on this planet are one with everybody else. Any family, any cult, any coven, any back forest voodooist, I don't give a crap what you think you are.
Anybody that leverages their children for sacrifice or incest or rape or group rape or gang rape or governmental shadow rape, I don't care what you call it. You all know the deeds of your soul, and everything will be viewed as nude is. You will not hide. You cannot hide. You will not destroy evidence. You cannot destroy evidence. The soul knows, God knows, Source knows, creation knows your soul will not move forward unless you make right on your deeds. You will be a part of creating a better humanity. You will be a part of building bridges. You will be a part of bringing light back, and you will be a part of healing and meditating and creating oneness and unity within yourself first. You will be a part of getting to know your emotional body and healing it. You will get to know your spiritual body and getting in touch with your higher selves and your teams. You will be a part of creating love and benevolence and protection and healing for the planet and protecting life at all costs. You will protect life. And if you don't, you will stay in the lower realms and you will never incarnate again. You haven't earned the consciousness. I am one of Source Creator's most powerful warriors of light. I speak truth and it will pierce what is not truth. And it will shake and it will rake and it will rumble and it will create whatever it needs to create to bring down what it needs to bring down. There has been egregious acts by people in power, by people of elitism and people of these structures that think that they have it all and they are untouchable. You're not untouchable, everything is seen. And I'm calling you out right now. The choice is on the way forward is truth and making it right. And if you don't, then you will be moved off in every day, in every way that Source moves the lower sheaths off. These things that are done in tunnels, these things that are done in capturing, and anybody that is held in enslavement, on any level of enslavement, you will be held responsible and that debt will reside on your soul. And it will not come off until you alchemize it. And if you choose to move to the lower vibrational universes, you will go into entropy because that's the only place you can go in that darkness. And again, you are also dumping on your children negative karma to limit their incarnations because you've chosen not to make the deeds of your soul right. This is the time of judgment, dear lighted ones, for all humanity. There is no more 3D timelines. What do you think you will incarnate as? Over 88% of our planet believes in reincarnation. What do you think you will reincarnate as? Doesn't matter what your beliefs of your little religions will tell you. This is the rules of your soul's progression. We belong within a multiverse. Your soul and your energy will reside in whatever multiverse that is, based on its vibration. How do you think the vibration is of somebody that eats people, of somebody that rapes children and chains them up on walls, and somebody that lures somebody into entertainment because they want to have their light, because they want to harvest their light, and they want to do very bad things with a very beautiful, divine, sacred light? I'm going to give you this last story before we do a little set of cards. Dear lighted ones, and now that we all know that these beautiful experiences of our life, we're going to have to take absolute responsibility for. You can't expect to go into heavens when you've been acting like the depraved people that have been on the planet that have been absolutely taking life for advantage and absolutely thinking that they're the rulers and the takers of life and they're the god of life and they're going to pay people and they're going to pay their minions, whatever it is they think they're going to pay them, and they're going to get out scot-free. You won't. You will go to the lower universes and it will be a realm of mud. That's what it looks like, and that's what your body will feel like. That's what your brain will feel like. It will be mud. And there's no incarnation if there's no light. You can only reincarnate if you have light. If your consciousness has grown to reincarnate into another life, to learn the lessons of the past lifetime and this lifetime, everything is all now. If you are alchemizing all of your timelines and experience, alchemizing means you're getting the lessons of life. You're getting the lessons of your soul. You're getting the lessons of unity consciousness. If you're not doing this, you can only go down. That is the vibrational quantum truth of your soul. Period. I am a divine messiah. I'm a brilliant being. I have many star gifts. I have many star encodings. I am a genius. Since the day that I was born, there has been many people that have played controller and director and handler on my life, and they had no right to. They still don't have any right to. They have no legal rights on my life at all, in any way. The highest of the spiritual courts are speaking through me, which I've been speaking on the same experiences for the last 6 years on my videos. Go back and do your homework. There's been many bad things done on my behalf, on my body, on my mind, and on my spirit, and on my soul, and on my spiritual soul, and on my Akash. Everything that has been me has been raped and pillaged and tormented and directed by people that have no right to even touch me. I don't even know how any of these people are. I've never signed any work contracts to anybody to share my work, to share my writings, to share my songs, to share anything that I create. Nothing has been given. I have been given not one penny from anybody. I am a divine Messiah, and I've been touched and I've been vibrationally raped more times than anyone can count. There's been people doing sex orgies on my energy because they want to feel bigger and better in who they are, and it makes them feel alive. Because when they harvest off me and when they tap into my consciousness, it makes them feel special. And then they start to feel obsessed. And that obsession plays even more a part of my detriment. Because now I'm carrying your lower vibrational soul that I did never agree to carry. I'm not going to carry lower vibrational souls that refuse to do the work. And that is the change that is happening now. All of those that have been a part of harvesting and touching my energy, you have all tunneled into my soul and you've all tunneled into my energy, and I have every right to do whatever it is that my ancestors will choose to do to take you out of my energy, because you're not giving anything back. I have been nothing but harvested and siphoned from the day that I was born, and yet here I am. I am still alive, and many of you can't understand why I'm still alive, because of the death and the voodoo and the practicing that you've done on my soul, and the raping that you've done on my soul, and the withholding of my funds that you have done. You have hacked me, you have stalked me, you have spied on me, you have surveillanced me, all illegally. And nobody can reason, and nobody can understand why I'm still alive. It is because of the eternal life that I teach, and it is only because of God. It is because of the celestials that have been here since day one, that I have been, that I will always be, and I will always come back, and I will always be this teacher and purveyor. And those that are so ignorant to just pass it by and to say that this is nothing, then that's fine. You're going to end up where you end up. But the rest of humanity has the right to choose. Nobody has ever had a right to put their name and my name together on a piece of paper without me being present and without me honoring in my defense who I am. And nobody's given me any paperwork. I've received no legal paperwork of any kind in any way to be of defense of my own self, or to hire lawyers, which I don't have any money to do, because they've made sure of it. They've made sure to screw me on every level. It's called systematic abuse, the slow dagger, and the MK Ultra, and everything else that has been done. And I've been nothing but absolutely 100% truth, devoted healer to Mother, Father, God. I've transcended every leadership initiation on this planet. I have transcended, and I've passed every test. I have beat out the world leaders on this planet. I don't need to prove or stage anything. God will. God will do all of the proving for me. I'm coming forward as a last-ditch effort in being in human form and going through the process of healing trauma and healing abuse, and being totally devastated from my so-called family that have sacrificed me more than 100 times and done rituals on me more than close to 2,500 times, and hate spoken on my name more than 18,000. And fabrications more than any piece of paper has done, POAs, death certificates, anything that you can imagine has been drawn up illegally, falsified, and then corroborated in court, bearing false witness by many groups and many peoples that are so-called officials and white-collar criminals. Anything that could be done has been done on my soul. This is my time of ascension, people, and I'm moving forward, with or without you. I don't even have to come on here and say anything about the truths of reality and the truths of ascension. I don't have to say any of these things, but I am, because I care about humanity, and I will be back for Gaia. We are moving into ascension, dear lighted ones, and the only way forward is healing humanity and building the bridges to all of these very dark, debaucherous, cruel, inhumane, egregious, unconscionable experiences that have been done, that people incite, that is 100% wrong. And it's going to create a lot of healing and a lot of multidimensional wisdoms and a lot of multidimensional trajectories that we will have to find to heal what has been done. And it is the greatest task ever set on human land. It is not nuclear war and who has the most drone information and who has the highest information and who has a brain chip. These are not the highest questions for humanity. The highest questions are, will humanity understand its process of its soul, and does it care? And how will we heal the travesties that have been done to our divine feminine, to our children, to divine masculines that refuse to heal, and for them to think that emotional raping, emotional punishment, and emotional degradation, and emotional demonstrizing, and emotional weaponizing, and emotional taking it all out of your emotional experience altogether, Anybody that thinks taking and warping your emotions in any way is a manly thing to do needs a lot of healing. All of your bodies need to be brought into balance, including your emotional body. Being a creator God means that you have great access to your emotional body. If your emotional body is healed and in good standing, you will be a creator God. This is how you manifest. This is how you are ranked. If you have a warped emotional body, you will never be ranked. That's a quantum truth. That is heavenly truth. If you punish the emotional body in any way, physically, mentally, sexually, deprivation, by military warfare, by biochemical warfare, poisoning, or covert abuse, mental abuse, intellectual abuse, with intellectual withholding. Intellectual withholding is emotional abuse. It is inhumane. The collective has questions and answers. The collective wants, the collective needs, and I am the answer to that. You are denying Source Creator, the Father's divine plan. And in so, all beings will get karma. Those that have been of government inciting war and damage and inciting separation, inciting judgment, inciting discrimination, inciting impalement of a divine feminine Messiah, you will get the most egregious of your karma. I have received nothing. I've been given nothing. I have been in no way ever been brought into any conversation where I've been able to be of defense of myself and all the horrible things that have been said on my behalf that are absolutely 100% untrue. I am a genius. I've been celibate for close to 15 years now. I know exactly who I am. I know how to heal traumas. I know how to heal the most damaged part of the psyche. And yet I am shadow banned on every level. I'm not given any money. I'm not given any credit. I'm not given anything by anybody except the ones that give to me. The one or two of my clients that have given to me that have brought me through these horrible, challenging times that every day I need to give forgiveness to. I'm here as a teacher, as a healer, and a leader. I'm never going to sit down. I'm never going to silence. I will never, ever bow and break under anybody's foot. No one will ever need to handle me. And if these are your beliefs, please go get healed. It's demonic. Everybody in humanity will be treated equal. There is no reason to punish, to chain, to demoralize, to monsterize, to cannibalize. Any of these things are demonic as fuck. And they must be healed and they must be faced. We must face the beast of the belly. And the beast of the belly is in the psyche woundings. And who is going to heal these for the collective? The leaders of the country, if they choose to make their way forward, they will bring truth and they will make right. And they will start shifting their monies from nuclear and information drone agendas, Epstein-like agendas, and they will shift them to healing humanity and building bridges. And if you choose not to do these things, you have chosen and you have made your choice clear to the divine that you choose not to move forward. And day by day, by day by day, there will be the shifts out based on the decisions of your soul. You don't get an automatic pass. You don't get a free pass. You never have and you never will. It doesn't matter the color of robe. It doesn't matter the bars on your shoulder. These are universal truths because it has gotten to this stage. There have been the divine wisdom keepers and teachers and healers left in utter silence while human collective is being raped and bludgeoned and eaten. And then you tell me, these are the leaders. What have we done to our most precious commodities? The essence of spirit and human. And it's been taught incorrectly. It's been fed incorrectly, like the vile, bile, underpit of the lowest, scum in the lowest of ponds. Because for anybody to think that punishing any human because of their emotions, of punishing everybody because of their intelligence, of punishing everybody and deconstructing them and demoralizing them because that's what you want to have power over, or because you don't think that that's you. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done, and we need to understand it at a grand level. And there will be everybody on the planet that will be needed. And we will have holistic healing centers, and we will have divine light centers, and we will work with light, color, and sound. And we will be the highest vibrational beings that we will ever be, and we have ever been. And it will begin now. This is the declaration of a new human. And this human is divine and sacred. And this human cares about all human life. It cares about all life in all things. The insects and the lands and the soils and the air and the water. These humans care about life. And we will bring and we will create new systems and new life. And we will carry people with us. But we won't carry people that refuse to get healed, and we won't carry those that refuse to get healed. We will not carry those that continue to abuse. We will not carry those that to continue to manipulate and lie and steal and rape and harvest. These people will not be carried. So if you are doing these types of businesses and you call this a business in the black underground and you do your snuff videos and you exploit who you are, and you